13 WMAZ Morning starts now.
We are looking live this morning over Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport as we head into the busiest travel days of the year. Big time cold weather across the country. Everything you need to know is coming up.
The holiday isn't here just yet, but Macon Bibb County is helping you prepare for your cleanup early, where you can find dumping sites after the holidays.
And everybody out working in the community to make the community safer.
After 4 months, the city of Forsyth has a new police chief. What the new chief has planned for the city.
And after her mother's death, a Macon singer still feels her presence as she works towards her music dreams. Her story and more on this week's Scene 13.
Good Thursday morning, Central Georgia. You're taking a live look over the city of Dublin. The time is now 6:31 a.m. here on this December the 22nd. We are just 3 days away from Christmas. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Wanye Reese. Alex has been having you covered on the cold weather approaching all morning. Alex, how are things looking?
Yeah, Wanye is still on track to get the coldest air that we've seen in nearly 5 years here in Central Georgia, with wind chills even colder than that. And that begins tonight. 42 in Macon, 41 in Warner Robins, 45 in Dublin. We've got 43 in Forsyth, 39 over in Monticello, 43 in Swainsboro, feeling a few degrees colder than that here on this Thursday morning. But up to the northwest, let's go take a look at the cold front. This is absurd. This is 60 degrees below zero is what it feels like in Casper, Wyoming right now. I don't even know what that feels like. I don't want to know what that feels like. It feels like 35 degrees below zero in Denver, 36 degrees below zero in Omaha. This is the air mass that's moving towards Central Georgia. Nothing out there on the radar picture for us this morning, just some mist. Temperatures today rising into the 40s, eventually to the 50s, 50 or so by 1 p.m. Today, a high temperature of 55, overcast with a small chance of a shower. Sunrise is at 7:33. But this Christmas forecast, man, is it going to be cold. Frigid wind chills Christmas Eve and on Christmas, starting at 14 Christmas Eve, 30 Christmas Eve afternoon, and then even cold or even just a little bit warmer on Christmas. All the details you need to know coming up.
Well, thank you, Alex. We'll check in with you soon. This morning, the search for the man who escaped following an officer-involved shooting is over. The Milledgeville Police Department says last night the Wilkinson County Sheriff's Office arrested Christopher Ford. The GBI says on Tuesday, Wilkinson County deputies went to Ford's home to execute an arrest warrant. Ford pointed a shotgun at the deputies. One deputy fired at Ford, missing him. Ford then ran into the woods. The GBI is conducting an independent investigation right now. An update to a story that we told you about yesterday morning. On Tuesday, a Bibb County deputy was arrested on multiple charges, including violation of oath and sexual assault. The sheriff's office says 34-year-old Arsenio King, you see him there, had inappropriate conversations with an inmate and allowed her to sell illegal drugs in exchange for sex while she was in custody. King was assigned to the Corrections Division at the time when the reported incidents took place from January through April of 2022. He has worked for the Bibb County Sheriff's Office since 2015, but is now on administrative leave.
You call 911 because if something bad is happening. It's not because you want to celebrate your birthday. So already you have a bad idea, a bad thought, and then the police show up in their police cars, lights. You're thinking, I'm going to jail or somebody's in trouble.
In July, Georgia's new co-responder law went into effect. It encourages law enforcement to team up with mental health clinicians. 6 months later, no agency here in Central Georgia has one of these co-responder teams, but at least 2 are discussing the potential. We take a closer look at how the teams are working so far in counties outside of Central Georgia. That story is coming up tonight on 13 Investigates at 11. Long gone are the days where people could leave their doors or windows unlocked, right? Well, Warren Selby of the Macon Regional Crime Stoppers says home security should be a priority. This should include everything from solid doors and deadbolts to security features.
Certainly security cameras are advantageous because, as we all know now, you have systems where someone walks up on your front porch and it activates the camera and you know that they're there. So a lot of times I have people say, well, cameras don't necessarily deter crime. Well, yeah, they do in some ways because some are voice activated. I mean, people can see that there's someone on their front porch.
Selby adds having a dog can also provide a layer of home security that can deter burglars. Today we talk about the common mistake many people make that brings their residents to the attention of burglars. You can watch more of that segment on 13WMAZ.com. Across the state, because of the upcoming freezing temperatures, Governor Brian Kemp declared a state of emergency.
And we just want to urge all Georgians to be ready.
The governor says the emergency will help ensure essential supplies, especially propane, can be delivered for residential and commercial needs. The order lasts through midnight Monday. There's a threat of high winds as well. Georgia emergency management officials say that could lead to power loss. Here's what you should do.
In the event of power loss, make sure you've got some alternate heating sources available to you.
Some good advice. He recommends you get a generator or space heater and know how to use it safely. Prepare cold weather gear like blankets and coats, and make sure you have an emergency kit that you can use for up to 3 days. There's also potential for flash freezing across our state. GDOT is taking steps right now to be ready.
With pre-treating roads and bridges on state routes and interstates.
As you travel for the holidays, drive with caution and watch out for black ice, and just be sure to be extra careful during your commute. 6:37 right now. Ahead of Christmas, Bibb County is sending out reminders about trash pickup times. Trash and recycling will continue on its regular schedule over the next 2 weeks. But if you have a lot more trash this time of the year, you can drop it off at 2 convenience centers. The number 1, the center on 11th Street, will be closed starting today through Sunday. It reopens Monday morning at 8:30. Number 2, the center on Fulton Mill Road, will close today through next Wednesday, December the 28th. It reopens on Thursday at 8:30. As for those Christmas trees, you have a few options. The county says Ryland Environmental will pick them up on the curb as a bulk item, not as yard waste. You can also bring your trees to Keep Making Bibb Beautiful's annual Bring One for the Chipper event. It's going to be going down on Saturday, January the 7th from 9 to 1 at Luther Williams Field. We're coming up on 6:38 on your Thursday morning. After 4 months, the city of Forsyth now has a new police chief. This week, Woodrow Blue started his new position. He replaces Eddie Harris, who stepped down in August. Chief Blue has worked in law enforcement for 43 years in places like Milledgeville and East Point. Chief Blue says he believes his ability to communicate and work with people sets him apart. The chief added that he plans to increase staffing and community engagement.
Believe in community policing, not just as a concept, but as really a core value of the department and everybody out working in the community to make the community safer.
The city says his salary is going to be $86,600. Chief Blue says for his first week, he will be out and about meeting business owners and people in the community. Coming up next, we tell you about a young artist in Macon who is turning her pain into passion. TJ has us covered on this week's Scene 13. Plus, the Macon Little Theater is hosting a sing-along when it's happening, and other Christmas events that you can check out. All that comes your way next. We're coming up on 6:39 here on your Thursday morning. Now is the time to make sure that your car is fueled up rather. Make sure that your tires are properly inflated, and make sure that heat is on right now.
Less than 24 hours away because the cold air is coming, and it is coming fast. The cold front is moving at some 50 to 60 miles an hour, which means it's going to be here before too long. Looking live over downtown this morning, kind of looks like a watercolor painting, right? Well, that's because we have some mist downtown, not picking up on any rainfall at the moment. In fact, the airport is picking up on some fog. 42 degrees, the current number, a light wind out of the north at about 7 miles an hour. Here's the radar picture. All the rain is back closer to the Savannah River this morning out along the South Carolina state line. We are dry here in central Georgia and cool. 42 in Macon, 43 in Forsyth, 41 in Roberta, 41 in Eastman, and looking at 42 down in McRae this morning. Feeling a few degrees colder than that, feels like 38 in Macon and 37 in Warner Robins. But if we look up to the northwest, holy cow, it feels like negative 60 right now in Casper, Wyoming. Feels like negative 54 in Glendive, Montana. It's not going to be this cold here in central Georgia, but this just goes to show you how cold the air mass is that's sliding to the southeast as we speak. Wind chill warnings in effect from Idaho, Montana, all the way down through the nation's midsection over towards Pennsylvania this morning. More wind chill advisories down to the south, and then another wind chill warning all the way down in the Houston area and down to the Mexican border. Here in central Georgia, we have a wind chill advisory, and the criteria for this is different based on the location. So for central Georgia, this is in effect for wind chills as cold as 5 below zero between now and noon on Saturday. So as we roll into the afternoon hours, looking at overcast skies across central Georgia, temperatures in the 40s, briefly get into the 50s with a few showers in and around central Georgia right around 4 p.m. As we play this forward into the night tonight, a few more showers will be possible. There's 2 a.m. there. Now let's watch the temperatures. By the time we get to 4 a.m., 30 degrees in Macon after being at 50 right around 2. Once we get later into the morning, how about 23? This is 7 a.m. We're not stopping there. getting colder. Feels like 8 by 9 a.m. Feels like 2 in Forsyth. Feels like -1 in Thomaston, 6 in Milledgeville, and 10 in Wrightsville. Once we get into the afternoon, not warming up all that much more. A majority of the day on Friday going to be spent feeling like the teens and single digits out there, and that's before we get to Friday night. Saturday morning is going to be the coldest time period, feeling like negative values. Areas to the north feels like 0 in Macon, 0 in Warner Robins. The actual air temperature will be in the teens, but again, with that 15 to 20 mile an hour wind, it's going to feel much colder than that. Even feeling like 0 degrees in Dublin Saturday morning. Into Christmas Eve afternoon, temperatures back into the 20s, feeling like the teens out there before we get into Christmas Eve night. As for Christmas itself, here we are at 6 a.m. Feels like 8 in Atlanta, feels like 13 in Macon. A bitterly cold Christmas morning. For Christmas afternoon, talking about temperatures rebounding into the 20s and maybe even feeling a few degrees warmer thanks to the sunshine we will have in and around the area. Luckily, we're not talking about any precipitation with this. There's Christmas itself on into Monday, maybe a few showers by the time we get to midweek, and that is about it. As for today, 55, the high temperature, overcast, small chance of a shower. Sunrise is at 7:33. Then for tonight, going to go from the 50s back down into the 20s very quickly. Sunset is at 5:33. And here's your Christmas forecast as we head into the next 3 days. Tomorrow, the beginning of the bitterly cold temperatures, 17 the low, 25 the high. We'll get up to 30 on Christmas Eve after starting off at 14. And then again, that's going to be the coldest time Christmas Eve morning. By the time we get to Christmas Day, a high temperature of 37. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We will be back in the 40s for Monday and Tuesday, back to 53 by the time we get to the middle of next week.